Request. Video request from Denemi. Video request. If you could spend a week with a deceased historical figure, who and why? Not a religious person. Oh, I was about to say Jesus. I was like, hell, Jesus, man. This guy is so popular. I want to know who this dude was, but not a religious person. Oh, wow. I haven't even thought about this. This is right off the top of my head. I guess I would choose, Julius Caesar, dude. Julius Caesar. Hell yeah. And that's a whole week. Yeah, man. I'd pick his brain about the Roman culture, his knowledge of history. I'd be really interested in how much history he thought of and what he knew, what he thought the future beheld, and have him extrapolate 2,000 years in the future and see what he thought, what he would predict. Julius Caesar was a really intelligent person, so he would, and he was a really good communicator. So, and he was a good person too. So he'd be chill to hang out with and to talk to. And he lived in so long ago. The ancient world was so different. And then I could tell him about the future, how it actually did turn out, and tell him, we could play games and just tell him how much he was right about and what he was wrong about. And then I could tell him what I know about the past, and he could tell me what I was right about and what I was wrong about. And then I could tell him what I knew about the history and what historical things stuck. I could tell him what historical buildings managed to survive and what state they're in. I could tell him in what state Rome is in now, all the different historical structures. In the time of Julius Caesar, most of the Roman historical structures hadn't been created yet, like the Colosseum, but the Circus Maximus was in existence. The Colosseum there in Pompeii had just been built. Pompeii had just blown up. Oh yeah, it actually had just been covered up. It was built and then 10 years later it was covered up by the explosion of Mount Vesuvius. But anyways, got sidetracked. I'd like to know what he knew about the Eastern world, China, if he had heard of the Buddha and Confucius and what he knew about them. In Africa, what they knew about it's like sub-Saharan black Africa. And who and why? So why him over all the other people? Well, he is he's extremely smart. I mean, he was the only guy who was a successful general who actually wrote about it himself. He was an extremely accomplished politician. He was from a noble family, but not an ancient noble family actually, that could trace actually the name Julius to somebody from the times of Troy, from 1,000 years beforehand. So. But he wasn't they weren't rich and totally prominent when he came to power. So him coming to power was a lot of his own doing, So he was very capable and very successful military general. He managed to take over all of France with 20,000 guys. So extremely intelligent, knew when to do what, so he's a good communicator, and I'd want to communicate with somebody who's a good communicator, intelligent, and he was also a good dude because he when he came back, he crossed the Rubicon and attacked Rome because they were so afraid of him that if he was afraid that if he would come back without the army, they'd just kill him. So he was kind of put between a rock and a hard place. And when he did become the autocrat, he forgave everybody. All the guys who fought in battle with him before, all the politicians, he forgave them and wanted to be their friends. And became autocrat. And I don't know if he was planning on starting an empire after that. Maybe he was planning on trying to make it back to a republic. But he got killed, so nobody really knows. He died at the age of 56, killed by all of his all the other senators who thought that he was going to turn into an autocracy again, a kingdom, and they didn't want that to happen. And they thought that they would fix it by killing him, and they ended up all getting killed by each other and having a civil war when it turned into an autocracy anyway. Because it was an empire by then, and so it was really militarily controlled, and so you kind of need more of something that's that big. If it's controlled by lots of people, it just gets confusing. So it made more sense to have an autocracy. That's how I explain it anyway. So so I wouldn't blame it it turning into an empire on him. He was very bold as well when he got captured by the pirates when he was younger. While he was doing on some business trip or something, they had him shackled, and he told him he was gonna when he got free, because he sent one of his guys out to go get the money that they wanted, the ransom money, and he told him when he got free he'd come back and kill all of them, and then he did. So, but just the way that he explained stuff in the Gallic Wars, it was very, very thorough, and it showed that he was very curious about stuff and paid attention to detail. And so I'd want to talk to somebody who could do that. Is curious and pay attention to detail and isn't just gonna get bored with you, because we're talking about a whole week we're going to be hanging out, and because there's a lot of historical figures I could think of who probably would just be a bunch of, just barbarians, and he wasn't. He was smart. I mean, he invented the Julian calendar, the calendar that we used all the way until the Gregorian calendar in 1580. So for 1600 years, they used his calendar, and, it's probably information that he gathered from the Gauls in France, because those guys were really smart about religious and about the astronomy and stuff. But yeah, he was a smart cookie. So I choose Julius Caesar. Okay, peace out.